Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to another episode of Trudge Report. I'm not exactly sure what was happening just before recording, but we are a recovery-based podcast. But don't worry, if you're not sober or not ready to be sober, we talk about plenty of other things, including sports, trending topics, and a good bit of nonsense, possibly all of it's nonsense. My name is Shawn and I am your host. I'm joined by my good friends and fellow trudgers, Bill, Corey, and Greg. Just as a quick reminder, going forward, all new episodes. Sorry, our producer just put something funny in the chat. Nobody's going to get that except for the five of us here. Going forward, all new episodes will be released on Thursdays. We're going to be recording on Mondays, and they'll be released on Thursdays. So please remember to listen on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Our videos will still come out on Fridays every week, so you can watch our beautiful faces on YouTube and Facebook, but please be sure to download on your listening platforms. That's what we really need everyone to remember. Like and subscribe on all social media outlets with the handle @TrudgeReportPod. And we are brought to you by the ever humorous Stella Mix Podcast Management and Miss Janine Stella, our wonderful producer and editor. Gentlemen, we got 2 football games on tonight. My Commanders are on, and shout out to Tyler Rain. Her Buffalo Bills are on. How was everybody's weekend? How was everybody's week? Let's go around. We'll start with Bill. How are you tonight, sir? Congratulations. 3-0. I know we're going to hear about it, so let me get out in front of that.
You're right. Congratulations. Well, congratulations to the FBI for finally arresting the diddler. P. Diddy got locked up this week. Let's not miss the lead on that. So let's celebrate that first and foremost, because that dude is a sick pup. Secondly, Shawn already stated it. The hat stated it. The 6 Super Bowls state it. You know, I don't know really what else to say, you know. I mean, you guys know. You guys are Ravens and Browns fans. You've been there. You know who we are. We are who you thought we are. And I have one quick question. One quick question for you guys. Is it General Sal's or General So's?
Oh,
I think it's
General Sal's,
Sal.
dude. Sal.
I think you got slightly pronounced the T, though. It's Sal.
This is how you say it.
Sal.
Rangoon and General Sal. Let me get that shit on my table now. That's how you know.
Wait, where did you get that from, dude?
I made that up in 8th grade.
Yeah, it's pronounced.
Say that
cat.
one more time for the
Crab Rangoon and a General Sal. Let me get that shit on my table now.
You used to work at like a Chinese buffet or something, didn't you?
He worked at the local.
Dude, I wish they wouldn't let me. They wouldn't let me, dude.
He worked at the local Hot Walk.
Woo.
And it doubled as not just a restaurant, but also as a rub and tug.
Corey, what was your take there? Sal's or So's?
Cat.
Okay. So I just don't get it.
Corey,
It's
that might have
So's.
been
I
the
don't know.
funniest thing you've said in quite a few weeks.
That's disappointing, to be honest.
It was the
All
timing.
right.
It's Sal. You got it. It's a slight.
It's So's.
I think I always said so.
It's not. It's
I think
definitely
I
not
always
so.
said so.
Okay,
I want to
guys,
know how.
It is
someone
definitely
says
not
Sal's.
so. Do we know any Chinese people? We need to get them on this podcast right now. It is
I will
definitely
find
not
one.
so.
I will find one.
It is definitely not so.
We have to find one and bring one on here.
Yes.
All right. That's my mission.
All right, Corey, how are you? What's going on with you, buddy?
I don't know. I thought I had some things to say, and now I'm drawing a blank. But the Eagles won yesterday, so I'll say that for sure. Kind of
did for sure win. Yep.
Need your Commanders not to win tonight, right? I mean,
Well,
not
I
need,
can't help
but
you.
like it's
I
never...
can't help you in that endeavor. So,
But dude, yeah, I don't know. They won. The defense showed up yesterday. Defense showed up. Offense struggled.
Boy, oh boy.
And it's just God, man. It's just
Saquon at the end, though, man. That's
Saquon
was hard to watch.
What a
that
weapon
game.
having him. What a weapon having him though down the stretch.
Dude,
really
somebody I can't remember who, but I just saw a post like an hour ago that was like, if the Eagles didn't have Saquon, they'd be 0-3. It's like, okay, if I didn't have this microphone, nobody would freaking hear me. Like, what's your point? You know, that's why we have him.
Touché.
But no, he did look great, and it's been really fun watching him do that. And even Hurts, man, when he starts running the ball, it's great.
He's athletic. He is
It's
very
great.
athletic.
Yeah, but it was hard. It was hard to watch. I'm glad they pulled it out, but I just want
That's what she
perfection.
said.
I was gonna say you don't know how to do that, do you?
No, I don't.
Really, Dallas Goedert won that game for you too, not even Saquon. I mean, that play with
Goddard.
that drag route.
Isn't it
huge.
Goddard?
Goddard.
Is it
Bill, we
Goddard
can't
or
start.
Goddard?
Well, Bill, we
Goddard.
cannot start this pronunciation.
What did
thing
I
with you
say?
again?
What did I say?
Go. You said
You said
probably
go.
wrong.
And no, but like Dallas Goddard with that
Huge
huge
play.
reception, and then the very
Yeah.
next play, their other tight end hit a crucial block.
Right.
Go
Crucial
Thierry.
block. Yeah, dude.
Go Thierry.
Is
Through
that
through
really his name?
something
Thought
like
you
that.
were
I don't know.
trolling.
But again, with like this, and this is why I freak out when I'm watching these damn games, because this is the 7th consecutive game that Jalen Hurts threw an interception, and then he fumbled the damn ball. There was 2
Greg
was-
turnovers.
Corey
was
is,
right. You are too emotional for this.
Yeah.
You-
Corey texts us like first
care.
play, first quarter every week with like some
Mhm.
rant about losing. And we're
Yeah,
the
season's
game
over.
is like just
Yeah,
starting.
season's over. Blow up the team.
It's like
We're
the
all-
kickoff.
Could you
Greg and I are
imagine if
used to
Corey? Yes, we are. And could you guys imagine if Corey was like a naval commander or something like that? Like, he would be
Fucking nuke
screwed.
them.
In charge of the nuclear code.
Sink the
Yeah.
ship. Get in the lifeboats. We gotta go.
Oh, dude, that I'm gonna fantasize about that later. That'd be sick. Oh my god. Shawn, I can't hear you. You're talking, but I can't hear you.
Can't hear me?
Oh, there you go. Now I hear you. What were you saying?
Let me move that a little closer. How's that? Is that a little better?
Yeah, your line just
All right.
went dead. Like I heard you.
Okay.
Anyway,
Nothing. I was just poking fun at you.
go Birds though, dude. Go Birds. And I don't know if we'll beat. Here's the deal: we should beat everybody in our division, right? Should.
No.
Oh, especially the Commanders. Might have. I don't know about the Browns. It's at home.
Browns aren't in your
I don't even
division.
know about Tampa this week. I don't know.
How is
He plays you
Brownsville,
guys
Greg?
well.
How is Brownsville, Greg? Sad day yesterday.
Well, I have a big announcement to make.
You're joining the team.
I've spent the greater part of 24 hours researching some stuff, and I am pleased to announce that I have finally uncovered the most notorious con artist in the history of all swindlers. Right? It's not Charles Ponzi or Frank Abagnale Jr. and not even Bernie Madoff. Nope, it is this guy. Oh wait, hold on. I got my pieces of shit mixed up. It's this guy.
That's the
Right
same
here.
guy.
One Derek Deshaun Watson. Okay. This dude, I can't like I was
think it might
behind
be
it at
the
first.
ownership for the Browns. That's the biggest swindler.
Well, dude, no,
What about your boy Art?
I can't get behind it anymore, man. The guy can't play football. I question whether or not, and again, I get it. There's a lot of allegations and all that kind of stuff going on. I question whether or not this guy can actually still play football, and whether or not, like, is this just a guilty conscience, like, manifesting itself in his work life? He can't concentrate on anything else. I have no idea, but this dude looks so amateur. It's not even funny. And then hats off to the teams like the Steelers, who went out and got Justin Fields for nothing this offseason, right? You know, and they're 3-0 with the kid, you know. Russell Wilson might not even have to see the field this season, you know. But yeah, as far as Shawn goes, man, last time he passed for 300 yards, January 3rd of 2021. Last time he threw for 3 or more TDs in a game, October 11th of 2020. All right. The guy does not look like an NFL quarterback. He doesn't even look close to it, man. I think he's 500 yards through 3 games, most of which came during that Jacksonville game last week. 3 TDs, 2 picks, but like the stats don't. I mean, you know, he's got like a 23 QBR right now, a 71 passer rating. But even the stats don't speak to it, man. I literally watched him miss. I was there at the game yesterday in person. And I watched this guy miss a handoff to Jerome Ford that got fumbled, right? And that's a muscle memory play. For anybody that's ever played sports, played football, there's muscle memory plays. The things you do 125 times a week in practice, right? That's a simple handoff, right? There's no contact, no nothing. yeah, the guy has bent the Browns organization over for the tune of $230 million. And
Let me
I don't know.
interject real quick, Greg.
Please
'Cause
do.
You know what? I remember you and a lot of other Cleveland fans making a lot of jokes about Big Ben.
Well,
and
he
his
deserves it
sexual
too.
history.
He's a rapist.
But no, he was proven innocent or paid the people off. One of the two, I forget.
True. Okay.
However, Deshaun Watson was definitely one. And then you guys traded for the dude and gave him what, $200 million. I mean,
230.
that screams not a bright idea. You know what I mean? Like the
Right.
dude has something wrong with him, like
Well,
the people that do crap like that.
And the thing is like you can't tell me Jimmy Haslam didn't do his due diligence on this. Like I can't believe that lie anymore. You knew what you were getting into. You flew down to Houston 3 times to talk with this dude before you threw the pen to the paper.
They were starstruck. They wanted to win that bad.
Here's
the
deal
care.
is unfortunately, and I hate to say this because I still love the Browns, man. I still like they're still my football team. They always have been, but you're a loser organization. And what do loser organizations do? They make desperate decisions. And sometimes it's a big swing and a big miss. And unfortunately that happened. And it sucks because in my lifetime anyways, aside from when I was a small I was never small, young child, in the 80s, man, this is the best team we've assembled in my lifetime, and on paper at least. And it just looks like it's going to end up getting blown up and starting over, but we'll see what happens. I just have no faith in
is
this.
he worse than Dak?
Yes, right now. Yeah,
right now,
I would say right now. Yes,
absolutely.
Dak at least.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
empty
yeah,
stats.
100%.
Right
now,
Dak.
right
I would
now,
take Dak
yes.
any day.
Because 3 years ago, I'd take Deshaun.
Oh,
Dak,
100%.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, who wouldn't in that? What was that? 2021 when they were
2020, 2021. Yeah.
Like peak Dak. Oh, I'd take peak Deshaun over peak Dak. Right? You guys would too.
Yes,
like he was incredible. But Dak Dak's a game manager,
and Dak's been doing it longer, obviously, and all that stuff.
Well, they're falling apart too.
My mom was she wanted me to make sure I say this, that she told me she found out about Brandon Aubrey or whatever Aubrey's the Dallas kicker, the longest field goal in history or something yesterday, 65 yards.
Mhm.
She texted me about it. It was like, oh, for your podcast. She was all excited. So I told her I'd give her some credit for that.
Shout out, Suzanne.
Shout out to Mom. Dallas stinks though. We don't like them, but
Dallas sucks. Also, it's pathetic when you see people on Facebook and stuff that they want to go hop on another team because Dallas sucks so bad. There's no honor in that, guys. I might think my season's over every week, but
you won't see me hop to another team, man. In the early 2000s, just as from an NFL fan perspective, and because Cleveland did not have a team.
What'd you do?
I watched Peyton Manning in Tennessee, man, and like watching him kind of come up through the Colts. They were sorry their first couple years, but watching him and Marvin Harrison start to click, and then they add Reggie Wayne, and that was fun football to watch, especially him going against Tom Brady when Brady started to flourish. That was fun.
Greg, what about the Browns not taking Deshaun the year he came out to draft, or Pat Mahomes?
Well, but here's the deal with Pat Mahomes, man, is like that. I don't think that Pat Mahomes, and this is taking nothing away from him.
Nobody thought he was going to be that good.
I don't think he was going to. And here's the deal: I don't think if he goes to many other teams, he's that good. Definitely Cleveland, but like not many other organizations.
And that's
you fall into Andy Reid. You got like Travis Kelce kind of coming out of nowhere and just being a stud. Like
he sucks this season.
No,
he's kind of crazy. He's just not being used.
He will.
He looks very achy.
Yeah,
like he looks stiff.
He's good,
man. He had a loose offseason, baby.
Something stiff. Hey, speaking of Manning, shout out to Arch Manning.
Arch Manning.
The kid?
Yes, dude, he's good. He's in college, Corey.
Hey,
Texas.
Where's Ewers or whatever?
He's injured. Nothing crazy. He'll be back in a game or two, but they gave Arch his first start last Saturday, and he balled out, dude. He balled out.
5 TDs,
national championship pick.
5 TDs, like 300 some yards. I think he did throw 2 picks, but hey, listen, we can take that. But the game before that, when he went in like halfway through the game, he had that like 67-yard rushing touchdown.
Yeah.
And the reports are that he got up to 20.9 miles per hour, which is
For a
fast
college
as
kid
shit.
is yeah.
19-year-old.
Yeah.
He's going to be good.
Can you guys
He's
tell
gonna
me
be
something?
good. Sure.
You guys tell me something. Is General Booty a person?
Yes.
Holy shit.
That's yes.
What are we
You
talking
guys
about?
have
That's
never heard of him?
No.
So
General Booty.
I thought you were going to say General So's.
No, General
yeah, so
Booty.
That's also a category on Pornhub.
Yeah.
he's the
give me
nephew.
General Booty.
He's the nephew of another booty.
Oh, good.
He's in the college football scene, and he's a quarterback he was played for like Louisiana Monroe or whatever, and like, but yeah, he has been referenced a lot on college football recently. That's why Corey's bringing that up.
General Booty.
Yeah.
Epic name. Epic
All right.
name.
His dad was his uncle was a third baseman for the Miami Marlins. So
I'll say
Most of
Archie
those-
Manning actually makes the second most in NIL money as well.
well, he's got
not even
not
a
only
starter.
not only that, but look at the legacy you come from.
Yeah,
And he's
yeah.
not even he's like the outcast brother of the Mannings that no one's ever heard of. That's his son. It's not even Eli or Peyton.
Right.
Yeah.
He's not an outcast. though.
Cooper or something.
He
No,
just
but
didn't make it to the
but he's
NFL.
he's like the other Wahlberg, like not
Yeah.
like
Yeah, but
not
that's
Donnie, not Mark,
that's
but the
a
other guy.
football-
That, you know,
yeah.
Oh, I thought you were
It's a
talking about
football
Donnie for a
family.
sec.
no, Donnie's pretty big, dude. Blue
Donnie's
Bloods,
the
you kidding
man.
me?
Yeah.
New Kids on the Block.
All right.
Wahlburgers.
I got a quick question. Number one, I got to shout out Grace. Grace scored her first goal in soccer on Friday.
I had a girl.
yeah.
Grace. Then this is a week after she just stood on the field and cried because she hated it. And now she loves it. So go, Grace. Guys, just to recap on our Jeep talk, the Jeep trucks are terrible, like the
Mhm.
actual Jeep trucks. And how do we feel
I'm
about
not
Hummers?
falling for this again, Shawn.
How do we feel about Hummers, guys?
Oh.
And I'm not talking about
I love getting
those
them.
kind of Hummers, Greg.
The other category.
I think the
How do we feel
electric
about
Hummer,
Hummers?
the electric Hummer looks cool. However, I would never buy an electric vehicle.
I think they all look stupid. But I want to hear Greg because Greg was the only one that rode for Jeeps.
How do I feel about Hummers?
Yeah.
I mean, I've never like they were a big deal. I don't know, like when LeBron James was in high school and we were.
But did they need to
Bill
be?
was
though? That's the
somewhere in
thing.
like a puffy jacket wearing FUBU, and I was, bar hopping all the time, and yeah, they were a big deal back then. I don't think they're that cool. Like the military ones are sick. I
Well,
want one
but
of
well,
those.
yeah.
But like
Well,
With a
the
turret on the
civilian,
roof.
yeah, give me anything with a damn turret. Give me a Geo Metro with a turret. I'll drive that sucker. But
Hell yeah.
but yeah, no, like the civilian ones are just meh. I think I first off, I think the electric Hummer will still find a way to guzzle too much gas and not
For
be
sure.
fuel economical. But yeah, they're just meh.
I think
Never-
that Hummers are like, not to get too dystopian here for a second, but I think it's like one of the main, like the Hummers are what's wrong with society, like in a nutshell. Like that is one of the things. It's so
The
big, it's so
excess.
much. It's just like no wonder other countries hate us. But
I'm gonna
anyways,
say it right now.
that-
If
that came to
them.
me.
if I were to get something like sizable like that, and I'd have to look at the newer lines because I haven't paid that much attention, but shout out to Danny P once again, and like I'd rock a Nissan Armada all day. Corey,
yeah.
Corey, we
Nissans
rented
are
one
great,
to
dude.
go up to the mountain one time. Corey fit perfectly in the back,
Oh yeah.
sound asleep until we
Look,
played.
Shawn, they're talking about like the
Daytona.
suburban
Yeah.
of Nissan.
Yeah. I know what a Nissan Armada is. Yeah,
That,
it's like the Suburban or the Expedition or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, that thing was awesome.
Can
That thing
I
was like
tell-
a tank on the road.
I once had a rich man tell me, Shawn, the bigger and heavier the vehicle, the more safe your family is in an incident. So that is a factor as well.
Hmm.
Like
Whatever.
a bigger
Unless
vehicle.
Constantine's
even
behind
though-
the
hey,
wheel of an 18 wheeler.
Yeah, even though Subaru has won all the safety ratings for like the last 20 years.
But that's in their class. So that metric is to other vehicles in its class. You go ahead and put a Suburban against that thing, it's going to pulverize it.
I'll never forget the day that Michael Montmarquet sent me a picture of his car, his
Man,
fire?
on fire with
On
no
fire.
description or anything, just like a car on fire. And he listens. He's an avid listener. Shout out to Michael.
Love Michael.
Shout out to Michael. All right, guys. Switching gears here. We have been talking about, I'm just reading what our producer wrote. Okay, she's still on that.
Don't read that out loud.
I'm not going through that. We were having a very lively discussion about some inappropriate things prior to the start of this podcast. Do we want to just rag on Philly, guys, or are we actually going to do a segment on worst cities? No, we've been talking about, we do give Corey a lot of stuff, and like Corey gives it back. And listen,
I don't. Get abused.
Certain cities, we all come from, well, the three of you come from very inner cities and metropolitan areas. So we wanted to do a little segment on kind of like some of the worst cities in our country. We're not going to go too far down the rabbit hole with this, but what do you guys got? Who wants to start? Who I have on the list? Greg, I got you starting first. What do you want to start with?
Let's rock and roll. So I was looking at this throughout the week and looking at different metrics and stuff like that. What are the worst cities to live in? What are the happiest cities to live in? What are, and how is all this stuff measured? And there's just so many different lists and so many different ways this can be measured by, whether it be poverty rate or violence or murders per capita or whatever. I just chose to keep it, okay, here are the cities that I've been to that I have zero interest in returning to, because it's just not my kind of vibe, and I'll give a couple reasons why. So first and foremost, St. Louis, Missouri. Yeah, it's cool. They got a big steel arch out there. It is, for anybody that's ever been there, it's in the middle of a park that's literally habitated by homeless people that they have to kick out all the time of the park. It's kind of depressing. But yeah, that's their like claim to fame, right? They got the Anheuser-Busch big facility down there that looks totally abandoned. And matter of fact, the entire downtown area of St. Louis looks totally abandoned, even in broad daylight on a Saturday afternoon. They have the huge concrete blocks that you would see in the median of a highway. They literally have those in the middle of the street there to prevent street racing. So you have to you'd be driving down a major street and have to navigate around this huge concrete barrier while you're driving. But yeah, the place is just there are areas of it where you'll just be driving through and there's nice shops and everything like that, and then a block away there are no people. You can almost like hear the eerie silence, and it just looks bombed out. So yep, St. Louis is on that list for me.
So real quick, because I have a good friend from St. Louis and I wanted to touch on it too, and I talked to him today in depth, and I was like, give me the good and the bad. And everything you said is absolutely true. He said the north side is way worse than the south side, although the south side is getting worse. He did say that they have a great music scene, especially jazz and blues, and great food scene in certain, like
Nelly, man, don't forget Nelly,
and like the downtown area. So shout out to that. He did say also that toasted raviolis were invented in St. Louis.
Oh,
so that's pretty cool.
Whatever, you can get them at Wawa.
I would venture to say they're probably invented in Italy.
Right.
I don't know.
People just claim that.
He's
like
from St. Louis, I'm telling
you.
And they're said to have the best botanical gardens in the country. So a couple of good things just to counteract it.
Highly unlikely.
Listen.
This person listened to the show.
They don't even have the climate to support that.
Maybe
I want to see.
And in 5 years, one of the world's largest recovery conventions will be held in St. Louis. So 2030.
Fair enough.
Only thing higher than the arches.
They're going to need it.
But it is on every list I looked at. It's like the second or third highest in murder rate and stuff.
The only thing higher than the arches.
Am I going to that?
The only thing higher than the arches are the dope things and the murder rate there. Yeah. That's about it.
He went into like a whole history of it. It was actually kind of fascinating.
We can have recovery conventions literally anywhere in this damn world.
I told Cameron I'd give him a shout out. Shout out to
Cameron. Yeah, Cameron, your city sucks, buddy.
Well, he acknowledged that. He was like, no, dude, it's a terrible place. But I said, give me the good too. And he gave me some good. So
just for the record, Nelly. Fuck Nelly. Just for the record, St. Louis is for 2024 at the top of the damn list for murder rate, 69.4 per 100K.
He just had to get that 69.
And I think it was last. I think it was last year too, right, Corey? Like
What?
it's been like they're proud of it. Like they're like, oh, it's the end of the year. We better hit like 20 murders this
Let's go
month.
start. Let's the purge.
That's
They
where the
have
purge
lose our
was
title.
filmed, right? Yeah.
It's a competition. It's a competition with Baltimore, I think. So
Okay.
they're winning right now.
Well,
Greg, what
I
else
guess-
did you have?
Okay, so I've got Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's not.
a
For
shithole.
any of you guys that have ever been to a second, third, or fourth rate strip
Bob got
club
drunk there.
and had you just had a real questionable woman, you paid her for a lap dance and then you left and you had that I just did something wrong, and that's the way I felt just the entire time I was in Atlantic City,
This
New
is
Jersey.
from experience.
Yeah.
A
This is why you shouldn't get lap dances.
cesspool.
Greg.
And also why you shouldn't get lap dances from second, third, or fourth rate strippers. But
It's bad.
yeah, it's disgusting. I can look at it and say, okay, cool. Like this was like a mobster hangout and maybe a cool place in the 70s. But
At some point, yeah.
it is
way back when.
It
Until
is
they made
sad.
Vegas.
Oh my God, the boardwalk there, sad. The beaches got full of needle. You can't walk barefoot on those beaches, man. It's just just a shithole.
Isn't
Let
that
me
really
say-
close to you, Corey?
Well, yeah, pretty much. Hour and a half or so. Let me say though that nobody in their right mind has ever gone to AC to go to the beach or the boardwalk. It was the casinos.
True.
Right.
But
But even the casinos
have,
look terrible.
They're
well,
disgusting.
most of them
I've
have
been
shut
there.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I can't. I'm not defending it. AC
Right.
sucks.
Yeah.
It's like the
terrible.
halfway house Vegas.
It's
Like
bad.
Vegas
Yes.
was a halfway house.
Very bad. It used to
Um,
be very, like Greg said, it used to be very, very
Good call.
popular and nice. But
I've got San Francisco on that list. It is a beautiful city in some
That's a
parts,
tough
but it
one,
has
yeah.
been
poop everywhere.
it's been taken over. The lawmakers in California and certainly the lawmakers in San Fran are
Yes.
just they're intent
gone.
on ruining
Yep.
their cities. I saw a sign today in a newspaper article that said and it's posted like it was posted as a street sign, right? Theft must be kept to under $950.
Love it.
So it's literally legal to steal there.
California
as long as you
is
keep it
so
under
bad
$100.
with that
It's
stuff.
They're
it
their
is
own
so
damn country.
whacked out. It's
Do
not
you
even
remember
funny.
that news story a few months ago? There was that naked crazy guy in like an apartment complex, like running around with a knife, and the police wouldn't do anything.
They don't do
about it
anything.
because
Was it Elon Musk?
no, but he was like running around naked and like high on stuff and with a knife or mental health, and they had no bearing for whatever the squatters' rights or whatever it was. They couldn't.
The streets look like Mumbai. There's like
It's crazy.
poop all over the sidewalks. It's
Yep.
And it's
frickin'
like San Francisco is like one of the most
richest
just to be
poor.
clear, the streaker in the apartment complex might have been in LA, I don't know, but California. But San Francisco is one of the most like expensive cities in the country too.
Yeah.
To live.
I think that
Which is
adds
crazy.
to the crappiness because
Right.
like they're super rich.
Yeah.
And then there's just
There's
like
no
you
middle
get
class, yeah.
robbed if you
Yeah.
go over
Yeah.
here.
Yep. This
What
one
else
might
you got?
surprise some people. But Miami. South
Doesn't
Beach.
surprise anybody.
South Beach
Nope.
is South Beach is pretty cool if you've never been. My first time going to South Beach, I was with Corey, and we went and saw a show, Dave Matthews Band show on the beach, which was awesome. It was for the Orange Bowl, so they had a whole bunch of other stuff there.
And it was free.
It was really cool. It was free. South Beach is a cool place. You get outside of that, man, and it is rough, dude. Don't go anywhere near Overtown if you're our complexion. And yeah, it's just it's a whole bunch of people in a real tight area. You can't get around anywhere. It's for a big city, for a big metropolitan city, it's terrible in my opinion. And it's blown up to be so much cooler than it actually is. I'm sure it's really cool if
Nah.
you're going to a Diddy party and you got, millions of dollars to blow. But other than that, no thanks. And then finally, to cap it all off, I left Philly off my list, and
As you should.
I did for a couple of reasons. Number one, because I like to just blow Corey's spot up on the side about Philly. But number two, I've been to Philly a couple times, and I do have to say that while it is a shithole, it's kind of a nice shithole. They got a great IKEA there. They
Great
Said
they
food.
no
got
one-
some
said no one ever.
great food.
Great food.
Excellent food. The cheesesteaks
Yeah.
are the real deal. So if
They-
you've never been, you got to go and get yourself a cheesesteak. If you go to Chicky and Pete's, get them crab fries, baby. They are the real deal.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I had to leave them off the list. But
it is very low on all the lists I looked at. Like meaning like a top 25, it's like number 17 or number 20. So good for you on that.
and
Corey.
They
you want
did
to do
redo
something
the
cool.
downtown too. It's like
Yeah.
Corey would
Oh
know,
my
but it
God.
looks actually decent.
And
Well,
as
you
it
wanna
should
do-
be.
time for that shit.
You want to do something cool in Philly, probably the coolest thing you'll do there, because it's not the Liberty Bell. It's certainly not going and standing next to the
Go
Rocky
hang out with
Balboa
Corey's dad.
statue. Cool. If you want to go meet up with Keith, that'd probably be pretty sweet.
Plus, the Liberty
he'll
Bell's
show you
not the
around.
only place to see some crack in Philly. That's
Ooh,
for sure.
that's right. That's right.
Ooh.
But definitely Halloween at Eastern State Penitentiary is
Oh.
very, very cool. I have been. All hail spooky season. It
Hell
is
yeah.
amongst us.
God
But
damn,
yeah,
Greg.
so coming in as my top worst city in the United States, it's not just a city, it's an entire state. Matter of fact, I like to call it first state, worst state, and it's
Oh.
the whole state of Delaware. What a shithole. Okay, I had the
And like
pleasure-
pointless too. Like
it's
Wow.
it's
Delaware is
fucking
pointless.
terrible.
That's
I
a
had
hot
the
take.
distinct dishonor of living in this place for about
Like
7
we could
months.
just do away with it and just have 49.
You really
states.
could. There is
Dude, my
nothing
sister's
there.
gonna fucking come for your throat.
Hey, that's fine. Okay, there is
Jesus.
nothing there. You know, and like
Isn't
me,
that where
I
you were
like- I
employed
like-
for a while?
Yes. So I like old historic stuff. There is one cool spot there. It's called Old Newcastle. It's on the board. It's you can
Old
see across.
Newcastle.
to
Yeah,
New
Fuck Joe
Jersey.
Biden.
And-
He's
I
I was just gonna say
historic.
you could see Joe Biden riding his bike though
At the beach.
at the beach. Come on,
Rehoboth.
guys.
No.
Rehoboth. No, Bill, stop it. Rehoboth. Rehoboth.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
Rehoboth.
old Newcastle is pretty
Rehoboth.
cool if you're a history buff like I am, because the whole city's been like untouched since the 1700s. Other than that, it is a crap hole. Wilmington, absolute nightmare of a city. I don't even know if you can call it that. It's not even that. It's just a collection of homeless and mentally ill people. Yeah, and yeah, it's for a state that you can literally get through. You should be able to get through it. I'm sorry, from top to bottom, because it takes about 15 minutes to get across it. You should be able to get from top to bottom in an hour and a half. That hour and a half takes 4.5 hours, because it's literally, believe it or not, boys, coming from Florida, it is literally the worst state I've ever driven in. It's the biggest collection of absolute
Yeah.
morons
Delaware's
behind the
bad
wheel of a
for
car.
that.
So congrats, Delaware. You suck. On to you, boys.
All right.
You really fucking hate Delaware.
No,
Good stuff. Yeah.
that's a little.
Corey, what do you got?
Now I have a lot. I have a lot.
Oh,
Shawn.
wow.
Well,
Block
we're not
out the
we're not
next
going
hour.
we're not going a lot, so
The
No.
one time he has a lot.
keep it to 5 minutes.
So no.
Yeah.
All right. First off, let's. I have a list for the murder rate for like the top 20 cities in 2024, and that's why I said St. Louis is at the top. Next is
Just name,
Baltimore.
just give me the 5. Give me the
No,
5.
I'm
We
not
don't
giving
need
you
to-
shit.
we don't need 20.
Next is
Gone
Baltimore.
rogue.
The reason I bring this up is this whole thing sparked out of saying that Baltimore sucked a few weeks ago, because we know this.
Just for my record, I was in favor of Baltimore.
Correct.
But
But anyway,
understand.
Baltimore is a close second in the murder rate in 2024. Next is New Orleans,
Yep.
which is I liked New Orleans from what I saw, but I didn't get shot at there or anything, so I had a good
Did
experience.
you go out at nighttime?
New Orleans has got some really bad play.
No.
I mean, like
Yeah. The French
what do they
Quarter
call-
is nice.
What do they call them
Yeah.
though? What are the names of the cities? They're not called cities or
They're called wards.
wards. Yeah. Any
Corey-
any state or city that has wards, you know it ain't good, dude. Let's
No,
just be honest.
Pittsburgh has
You know it ain't
wards.
good.
All right. Well, next
exactly.
next is number 4 is Detroit, which we'll just move on. Nobody likes Detroit.
Yeah, that's pretty.
And then number
Yo,
5.
Janine's on another thing today.
Anyway, number 5 on the murder rate list is Cleveland, Ohio.
No, it's not. It's number 7. but nice try.
See, this
Ooh,
is
on
the
Pat
this
thing.
is-
list,
You
it's number
gotta-
5.
You have to cross-reference certain lists because I
That's what I'm
have
saying.
Birmingham, Alabama on one.
This
and
should
in
be off
light
the
of what just
FBI
happened,
website.
like in light of what just happened, which you would never suspect Birmingham was going to be in the top whatever, but I found it on 2 lists today. But go ahead. We understand the point.
All right, couple mentions here. So I'm done with that. Couple mentions here. Greg, you didn't mention Newark, New Jersey. That might be one of the
Yeah.
shittiest cities in America.
It's so
terrible.
bad it doesn't even.
Well, realistically, anywhere close to New York City, there is just it's
awful.
like pointless. It's just
I didn't see New York City on any of the lists.
No, their
Which
murder rate
New
is way
York
down.
City. Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. And then Camden, New Jersey was, at least in 2015, the most dangerous city in America, which is wild. Philly's way down on the list. Greg, I appreciate your take on Philly for the most part. It really is truly one of the most interesting cities that I've been to. But I like old Revolutionary War history and stuff like that, and there's a ton of it. There's a ton of it there. And yes, the cheesesteaks are good. We should do an episode on cheesesteaks one day. You guys need to come with me to Philadelphia, and we'll do cheesesteak testing.
Pat or
No.
Geno's, and I know you're going to say no. We go to some other place.
Correct.
Pat or
But
Geno's.
out of those,
Yep.
well, Jim's is really good. Out of those two, though, I've always kind of leaned towards Geno's, but they suck. They both suck. Go to Chubby's. Go up north. Go to Chubby's.
All right.
God, what else? I will say for Cleveland, I really enjoyed my time in Cleveland every time. Also, Greg,
you had a great tour guide.
Look
I
at
had a
you
great
guys
tour
just
guide.
stroking each other off.
we did.
Yeah,
This is not how I anticipated this going. I'm in a good mood now.
Get a room.
Lastly, Greg, you didn't mention Seattle. Although you did say cities you didn't want to go to.
Seattle is wild, dude.
Seattle
Seattle's wild.
is.
You want to see a guy poop on the
real-
street at noon?
It's so, it is
wild,
crazy.
dude.
I mean, it's like it's so unique. It's so unique and interesting, but like at the same time, it's broad daylight in front. I've mentioned this before. It's broad daylight in front of a freaking Target, and everybody's
People
just shooting
smoking
up,
crack.
smoking crack, whatever.
Yep.
A
Police
ginormous
walking right by, not doing a thing. Just
Dude.
walking right by.
who
No big deal. Police.
Police.
Oh yeah.
They're not
in front
going
of
to
a
get. They're going to
fucking
get no bail anyway. Like no cash.
Right.
Cash bail. They're going to get released.
Yeah.
And then
That's true.
we're taking a fucking tour of the city and underground, because that was the whole thing, and this large African American man comes barreling towards our friend Kyle and just yells at him to get the F out of his way.
That's
And
awesome.
it was just such a fun
I wouldn't go underneath that city. You guys are
experience.
crazy.
There's
Yeah,
a whole
I
story
agree.
of that we don't have time for, but
Yeah.
that was a crazy unique city.
Mhm.
And I would go back there again, but that place also sucks.
What's it
that's
called?
what's
The
funny.
Emerald City or something?
Yeah. And lastly, I will say this to cap this off. Let's be real. Every major American city absolutely sucks.
Yeah.
It's just the
Good
truth.
call.
Every single one has their slums and they have their little nice parts. That's just a fact. Even Philly, you go too far north in the Kensington and stuff,
Oh,
it is a war zone. And Zombieville. It's crazy.
Yeah, but you know what?
It's
Give
just the way it
me
is.
some blue collar cities all day. You know, yes, a lot of them are concentrated here in the Midwest, but give me some blue collar big cities. Yeah, there's going to be crime. Yeah, there's going to be shitty parts, but most of the time it's just good, honest people.
Well, that's why but what I'm saying is, like, when we talk about, like, oh, your city burned down half your city after you won a championship or whatever, that's most major
That's-
cities that shit
yeah,
happens.
No, that's still
Yes.
pretty unique to Philly.
No,
Most
the fuck it's not.
northeastern
I didn't do enough
cities.
research. All right, go on somebody else.
Okay.
I'll go. That might have been
Go
my
ahead, Bill.
favorite. My favorite take all time from you, Corey. All major cities. I
I
like
was
that.
in a good mood, and now I'm
Now,
pissed.
you guys kind of focused on crime. It seemed like I did like an aggregate system, little algorithm, factored in some other things like weather, just overall shitty infrastructure. Detroit,
So
home of,
Pittsburgh's got to be up there then, huh?
they're on the list. Detroit, home of Eminem and Ford. The motto is "We put the car in carjacking." I've been there one time, never go back there again. It was probably close to like just St. Louis, but bigger, basically, is what I pictured. Buffalo, Buffalo is
Really
desolate, crap hole, nothing
you.
there. There's 2 seasons, winter and still winter. It's the crime rate's high. I just think they're like behind in time as well. So are people in Pittsburgh. People in Pittsburgh, and I don't know so much, probably Cleveland too, but they're like 10, 20 years behind everything. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed that. Greg, if you've ever noticed that. But Baltimore, that's a shithole. At least it's the home of the best documentary ever made. The Wire.
Not a documentary.
That was a joke.
Not a
Is that a joke,
boys? Come on,
That was
let's
a
get
joke.
on to the dry
That was a
humor
good
train
joke.
Very
with me,
nice.
all
Very
right?
nice.
Great
very
show.
nice.
Great show.
No, but the corner is a docu. Well, it's a.
We know.
What
We
would
know.
you call that? What'd you call
You
it?
told us.
Whatever.
Anyway, Chicago, frostbite in the winter, shot in the summer.
I
You
was
got 2
surprised
seasons
Chicago
of
wasn't
hell.
on any lists that I looked at though.
Chicago
I was
sucks too.
surprised.
They call it the Windy City because it blows away all your hope and aspiration as soon as you get there. There's literally documentary after documentary about this shithole. Deep dish pizza is supposed to be deep dish pizza and deep dish crime stats are the 2 markers of the city. Deep dish pizza is terrible. I don't know. This also
you gotta
factored
get it.
in.
No, you gotta get it right.
Cleveland
dude.
style is good. It's like the hybrid, right?
Yeah.
That's perfect. You go over there. I'm talking, Greg, where they got like the crust with just all
where you have to
sauce.
eat it with like a fork and it's
Dude,
just doughy and gross. Yeah, it's
that's not
disgusting.
pizza.
Yeah, that's
That
not
is
pizza.
Terrible. So
That's lasagna, is what that is.
Neither is that shit that you were talking about from Pittsburgh the other day.
That Altoona. Oh, no, that's
come
not
on.
Wait,
Pittsburgh.
what?
That's
That's not
from
Pittsburgh.
Altoona. Yeah.
Isn't that
Oh,
close though?
Not really. No, I think that's by Scranton. I don't even know where that is. Anyway, Miami's on my list. Miami, I've been there, like the bar scene, all that stuff. I mean, you go to Miami, they literally try to hustle you. They'll put like $25 upcharge tip on your bill everywhere you go. Everything costs. I mean, I live in South Florida, so everything costs a lot. It's expensive to me, and you know what I mean? I'm used to that stuff, and you guys as well. I drove down to 95 one night, and there's a car coming this way on 95 in the same lane. So you have like the death trap of 95.
Just trying to play chicken.
You got people that probably have been in the country for 20 days that don't know how to driving like probably, brand new cars. The other thing was about Miami. Like I went to a Kodak Black show in South Beach. This motherfucker, I stayed there till 4 a.m. He just got there. I was like falling asleep. I just left down on South Beach about 3 years ago. It was absolutely terrible. But really the worst cities to me, these aren't really cities, but anything around like Lake Okeechobee. Like you ever
Or
been
St. Lucie.
No, Port Lake
Terrible.
St. Lucie's bad. But you ever been to like Pahokee?
I was just gonna say.
You ever been to like Ranger
I have.
County or whatever,
I've been
like
there.
out on the other
Belglade
side?
area, yeah.
It's so bad. The drug
there's
addicts don't
nothing
even
there,
have
dude.
drugs, dude. It's just like tumbleweeds.
Oh my God.
I went
It
to a
is.
construction bid meeting in the county, like where the county, like we're here, it'd be like down on
Canal
Monterey.
Point, dude. Canal Point, Florida is like right next to that. It's terrible.
They hold an open construction bid meeting in the same hallway that they have all their prisoners lined up in handcuffs, like in the middle of the thing. And I'm just like, dude,
It's rough out there. The worst is when you go out to like the prairie in Okeechobee. I had to go out to the prairie, and it's literally like it's bad. It is bad. It's hillbilly nation. For sure.
There are some cities like up around Pittsburgh and like West Virginia too that remind me of that. They're just completely desolate. Those are the worst cities. The ones that are wiped out.
And you know what too? Like to Corey's point, like every big major city, all states have those areas too. Those types of the trailer parky, desolate, just like no commerce, no economy, no life.
Well,
really. Talk about zombie, dude. Like
the other thing though too, and this is probably a topic for another podcast, but the fact that like those areas that used to be very bustling hubs of industry and all those jobs have been shipped out and moved elsewhere and not on American soil anymore, most of them, and you've got now just a bunch of poor out of work people.
Yeah, but I don't think that's the case by Okeechobee. I mean,
no.
I'm not saying that. Fucking poor.
I get it.
That's
I mean, big sugars out there, but tell you what, like Belglade and those places, Pahokee, They produce some football players, though, boy.
Well,
That's about
honestly,
the only
corn
thing they
fed
have out there.
this is just reality. Is like those used to be slave camps. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like those
that's
cities.
true.
I mean,
That is true.
seriously. So I'm not making a correlation there, but I'm just saying
the
that's
sugar
why you have these
plantations. Yeah.
cities that are just
Yep.
broke. There's nothing there anymore.
Yeah.
Let me get back to Cleveland real quick, because that's the place where you go when you've given up on your dreams, but you can afford to leave Detroit. I've been to Cleveland before, and goddamn, that place sucks. I hate it. Pittsburgh
thought
is
it
on
was
my
all right.
list. Pittsburgh, what?
I thought it was all right.
No,
You know,
were
rock
in
and roll
Greg's
is right next
area.
to the lake.
No,
and
we went
stuff.
downtown. We went downtown a bunch of times.
Dude, you guys let off all those balloons and just wrecked your whole city. That's what you're
Oh,
famous
that was
was
the
for.
thing. Yeah.
That and a
35,
burning
40
river.
years ago.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
just you're
Well,
called,
so
it's
was
called
it
the mis-
Twice.
So was throwing snowballs at Santa, but nobody lets me forget that.
Yeah, I don't even have
Yeah.
anything for Philly. I actually kind of like Philly, the city.
Oh,
I've been to Cleveland, and maybe I had some Steeler gear on, so maybe they were messing with me. But and Pittsburgh's no better. I mean, Pittsburgh has some areas that are like Pahokee in the middle of a city, and then it has some like trashy white trash areas, and then it has like a university area and a couple nice areas. But nothing in Pittsburgh makes sense logistically. It's in a shape of a triangle. And that's really bad. If you're like never been there, it's terrible to try to get around that city because nothing makes any sense at all. There's thousands of bridges there. I jumped off one, and it's just a shithole. That's how bad it is there.
Mm.
And that's
Good
it.
talk. Good conversation, boys. That was good.
Sean.
What's
Okay,
that?
wait. Just so you guys know,
Okeechobee mullets.
here are 5 U.S. cities which rioted after sporting championship success. Detroit, 1984 and 1990. Boston, 04, 07, 2013. Chicago,
Boston sucks
91,
too.
92, 93. Denver, 96, 98, 99, 2001. Cleveland, 1974.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Our recovery
Watch
segment
your
tonight,
back
guys,
in PSL,
is
dude.
a little bit more of not just recovery, but we're going to talk about raising our kids and how we raise our kids and the conversations we raise our kids with, in like all of us being men of recovery, and the fact that we all kind of have, like Corey and I have our own biological kids. Bill has a biological daughter, and he's been Camden's father for a long time now, you know, and married into that whole family. And then Greg has, so he's got a unique perspective on that. And then Greg has a girlfriend who has, how is he, 6 years old, Greg?
7.
Huh?
7.
7 years old, and how he's the boyfriend, but is in recovery as well. And that whole brings a whole different dynamic. So I'll kick it off real quick as usual. My wife and I are both in recovery. We have been since, yes, Bill.
Okay. I didn't want to interrupt you. Go.
No, that's all right. No, you're good. You're good. My wife and I are both in recovery. We both were together when we had our first child. So both of my children were raised in a recovery household. I mean, you guys have all been to the house when we're doing recovery work, and many other people. We have plenty of aunts and uncles for the kids. They both were at meetings of recovery at 6 days old. They're very familiar with the one main meeting hall we have around here in Stewart. They go. I just took them there last Saturday night. Like they're there. They've been around recovery. They know that mommy and daddy have their meetings they go to on certain nights of the week. So like that's been a really like, and I hear that a lot from like old time speakers in recovery that talk about that and how their children were raised in those conversations. And I have no idea what the future holds for my kids. I know that my wife and I are doing the absolute best we can, and we believe we're doing a pretty damn good job at parenthood. Albeit there are plenty of mistakes along the way, but I hope if either of my kids ever grow up to have a drinking or a drug problem, and I would honestly pray that they don't, but if they do, I truly hope that the way we've raised them and the examples we are for them, like they won't have any issue coming to us or going to the same, you know, resources that we had. So I just had to say that right off the bat. We pray with our kids. As a matter of fact, we teach them like breathing techniques and some, not quite meditation, but along the same lines, like breathing techniques to help like self-regulate and calm themselves down. I think we've struck a good balance between strict and fair. You know, there are just certain things in our household that we just do not put up with, certain attitudes, certain behaviors, certain language. I grew up we never said the word shut up in our household. Like, as a matter of fact, my mom will tell the story as I got older and was doing drugs and stuff and a little bit older, and I'd be screaming obscenities at her and F you and F this and F and hate you. But then, like, as soon as one of us said shut up, like, we kind of stop and we'd be like, well, we don't say that word, it was kind of like the one thing, so that's just how we were raised, or how I was raised. So we teach our children, obviously, to respect their elders, really and truly, like, certain things are unacceptable in our household. And I won't get into too much detail about that, but I will say that my kids clean up after themselves very good. That is one thing that my mom taught me and my dad taught me. And was very strict on them about, like, cleaning up after themselves. And they know now. They know. And, like, I'll tell them to go clean up and they'll come up, we're done, Dad. And I'll go look at Sophia, my oldest, and I'll be like, is it cleaned up the way Daddy likes it cleaned up? And she'll go back and, like, double check. And there's certain things. And I just think that's a huge thing. And, like, that's something that carries over and spills over into other areas of their lives, right? Is, like, learning those solid core values at home, which I know is, like, almost like, yeah, duh, but saying that and actually having specific things that you do with your kids at home, I think makes a huge difference, right? We pray with them every night. Obviously, they have their prayers that they like to say. My wife loves Christian worship music, so, like, that they know it by heart. They know a lot of the songs by heart, and I'll catch them singing that stuff sometimes, which is really cool. Sophia just said to me the other day, I was asking questions about heaven, and she was like, "Can you really, like, do whatever you want in heaven?" I was like, "Well, yeah, like, whatever you find, like, enjoyable." And she was like, "So I can just have donuts all day long?" And I was like, "You can have as many donuts as you want in heaven." She was like, I can just like play and, like, have fun all that. I said, absolutely, babe. Like, that heaven is the whatever you can picture, the most greatest place on it's not even on earth, but the most greatest picture in your head of the most fun and the most joyous and the most whatever, like, that's what heaven can be for you. So they've been raised in these conversations, and that 100%, like, spills over into school and community. They're pretty good out in public. They get a little energetic out in public at a restaurant or something, but they're for the most part, they're very well behaved. Grace likes to scream at the top of her lungs, not because she's upset, but because she's excited, and it is a piercing scream. So we're working on that a little bit, but the principles of recovery that I was taught and that my wife was taught, we are instilling them upon our kids. And I think that all four of us are extremely fortunate that we've been taught this way of life, so that we can then pass it on to our children. So that's all I got. Corey, you're next.
I ditto everything Shawn said.
Nice.
Yeah, that's all. Thanks. No, but for real, a lot of that is very similar to what we try to do as well. What was funny that caught me off guard was the Christian rock music, because
Catherine loves it.
Dude, I can't stand it. But Gabby listens to
it's
it.
It's not my cup
time.
of tea either, but there's some good ones out there. But
Gabby, I know
yeah.
there are a few songs that I enjoy, but I can't. It's just me. I
know.
Anyway.
They all sound the same to me. That's my problem. They all sound way too similar.
But my kids as well. Their favorite song is "Praise" by whatever the hell, and even Noah just sings all the words, and it's pretty funny. But yeah, same thing, man. My kids are very acquainted with what is recovery.
Right.
They don't know it as recovery, of course. Like, they don't know that, like, mommy and daddy had a drinking problem and a drug problem, but they just know all of our friends. And same thing, Shawn, the meeting hall and wherever I gotta go, they come if they need to as well. We try to switch off as best as possible, like you just said. But and I've always liked that too, man. Like, I remember early on when we just had Lucy, being at a recovery group, and it was easy back then to bring her, because not only was she a baby and didn't do much, but everybody took a part in watching her. Like, she just get passed down the line of whoever was going to hold her next. And that's one of the beautiful things about having like a recovery family here, where I have no actual blood family in this vicinity. Is that I had, you know, like Lucy knows Uncle Greg, Uncle Shawn. I don't know if she knows you as Uncle Bill, but I don't.
Sure,
she doesn't, she doesn't even talk about you. No, I'm just kidding.
What?
But you know, Uncle Kai, whatever. Like they have that, you know, which is really nice. And that's a big blessing. But I mean, yeah, dude. Just trying to raise them to have some integrity. I'll just tell the story and I'll shut up, because Shawn, you said a lot of good stuff that applies probably to all of us, I'm sure. I was kind of proud. I was really pissed, but I was kind of proud. I didn't tell you guys this, I don't think. Maybe Greg knows. A week or two ago, or no, I did tell you guys this. Anyway, I'll tell it for the pod. A week or two ago, we're at BJ's, and Lucy got excited and swung her car door open and, you know, put some paint on the Lexus next to us.
Mm-hmm.
And I was livid, but I didn't freak out or anything. And Lucy got so upset.
Breaks your heart, doesn't it?
Yeah,
makes you proud in a way,
right?
It breaks your heart. Yeah.
She got so upset, and she was kind of just like, "What do we do? Like, what am I, you know?" And I was just like, "Listen, you're not in trouble. It was an accident, but
we got to make it right."
But we're like, but you know, not to just jump out of the car like that. Like, you always wait for us, right. You know, and so whatever. But the point in the story was she watched. So for our listeners, a producer suggested we just get in the car and drive off. That's not what we did.
I mean, she stated it. She didn't even suggest it.
My point in saying this is that Lucy also watched us write a note to that driver, put it on the windshield in an attempt to do the right thing. Like, we probably could have just driven off and called it a day, but then my kids would have watched us done that.
Lead by example.
Right. It's stuff like that we got to make sure that we're showing our kids how to act right, man, how to have some integrity and how to be responsible humans. So she knows that we put a note on that car to make it right if they called. They did not call. Maybe God did us a favor and let the note blow away. I don't know, but
you'd be a great mom, Janine.
Yeah.
She just said, "Thank God I'm not a parent."
No more trips to Italy.
That's a good learning lesson. I think that's an important thing. Is
Noah would have just put another dent in the fucking car.
Well, Noah,
night, dude.
Noah
he don't care.
Slashed the tires and
boys are
it came out of his piggy bank.
Yeah.
Those two are complete opposites sometimes.
Why don't you go to college? Because I dented a Lexus 20 times when I was 5.
Yeah, dude. Oh man, couldn't be a beater.
Yeah.
All right, Greg.
All right. I like what you guys have said. As previously stated, I am not a parent. And up to about a little over a year ago, I was just the fun uncle. But yeah, my girlfriend,
the Funkle, dude.
The Funkle, yeah. My girlfriend Lauren, she's got a
pretty sure you're Constantine's daddy.
Well, yeah, there's that.
Ooh, wow. That's another topic for another day.
Sorry.
Yeah. But and I have to give her all the credit, man. I don't parent him, you know. I do my best to take cues from her and learn her patience, because she's got an abundance of it, and not lose my cool and whatnot. But you know, for me, I grew up not, you know, my dad wasn't really around a whole lot. When we did go to see him, he was working most of the time. And, you know, even as a young kid, like, I kind of put him on a pedestal, and then I kind of had to find out as I grew older that, you know, dad wasn't really interested in being dad to really anybody, and certainly not to me. So I didn't really have, I have all of the examples in my life of what not to be and what not to be like. But thankfully, I'm also surrounded by good people who are good role models. The three of you being no exception to that. You three are the three of the greatest dads I know, man. So, and I get to kind of see the way that you kind of do things. I've gotten to grow with you guys and watch your children grow up, and it's been very cool. to see how you guys navigate certain situations. In the situation Corey was just in, I would have definitely told Lucy that I was calling the cops on her. At least
Yes.
rode that one out for a little while. You know.
We use that one when she doesn't put her toys away.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
Yeah, we call it cops.
But no, I think that it is important, and things that I try to instill with Peyton, my girlfriend's son, is, just the things that I didn't have, uh and the kind of lessons that I wish I had learned when I was younger. But by no means am I his parent. I'm just there to help, and I'm there to hopefully be a good male role model if he lets me, but to that, we shake people's hands, we look them in the
Yeah.
eyes when we're talking to them, we
That's a big
pay
one.
attention when people are talking. Mom is not your servant. She is mom. So please and thank you. Can I have this? Can I have that? I'm which he's a very well-mannered kid, but he needs, he's like any 7-year-old, he needs reminding, and so like that's important to me, is just like, because that's how my grandparents did with me, is it was like that constant reinforcement, and it really gives me a better perspective on, like, coming from a single parent household. Like, my mom worked her ass off,
Yeah,
and so
same.
now it gives me, like, I see my girlfriend, and like she still has all the patience in the world, even though she's been run ragged, and it's so like it puts into perspective, like, like, I'm sure there's times my mom came home and she was just wiped out, but she took the time to get us what we needed, me and my sister, and stuff like that. So, for me, like I said, I'm there to do those kind of things with him. I play a lot with him. We play a lot of sports. He's involved in a lot of sports. He does baseball, soccer, and football. Shout out to, he actually caught his second touchdown of the season
Nice.
this past Saturday. So shout out to him. But yeah, I go to all of his games. I'm there as long as I'm not working or something like that. I'm there at his games, cheering him on, and just trying to be like a positive influence in his life, which is very cool concept to guys like us, man. Because however X amount of years ago, some of us, I can speak for myself, I wasn't welcome in my family's house because I might rob them blind,
Yeah.
and now, like yesterday, for the first time, we sent mom to the spa for the day, let her pamper herself, and I took him, and we had a boys' day, and we went to the Browns game, and it was his first NFL game, and it was cool, and it was a huge, it was cool for him. He had a lot of fun, but at the same time, like, it was huge for me too, because it was like, wow, she trusts me enough
Right.
that I'm gonna take her kid into downtown Cleveland by ourselves and go to a game. And so it's like, like I said, coming from a place where we've all been, it was very cool. So that's what I got.
That's cool, man. Yeah, just showing up sometimes is
Mhm.
half the battle. So, all right, Bill, take us home as usual, bud.
Well, I agree with everything you guys had to say. I thought those were beautiful. And, fatherhood for me, to me, it's almost like when the same feeling multiplied as the first time someone asked me to take them through recovery and guide them through recovery, like that. I had this feeling inside of myself I wasn't worthy of doing that. And it really kind of changed my inner dialogue, and in retrospect, like, was something I was yearning for a long time as well. So it's one of the biggest honors, you know, of my life to be able to do that. And the truth of the matter is the world is a scary place. Like, you've got potential war, whatever, famine, disease, all these things rampant. We just talked about the worst cities in America. I mean, we went through a plethora of different things that are not fun to be a part of, and also growing up and to have been down to those bottoms and seeing that, right? So, but now, I try to teach my kids what I missed for 30 plus years. And the idea is so they can skip the 30 plus years of misery, right? You know what I mean? And maybe learn to change their inner dialogue before they end up like in that same situation. Me personally, like teaching them to laugh and be independent is a big one, uh, for both of my kids too, to be a leader, and I pull them aside and I say, look at how you're looking at this. How would a leader look at this? You know what I mean? Be the leader. Don't be a follower of people, because I was a follower of people for a long time. I was a people pleaser too, and that's all I could really ever do is seek that attention, right? That really has to do with confidence too in your kid. And I try to, like, I too, Greg, I didn't have dad as well, and I love that point about being the opposite, because that's a rare trait, and I think it comes with the recovery viewpoint of that. And also, like, I try not to like grind them up too bad. I try to listen to people who are maybe fucked up in the head now and what their father did to them, and go like have empathy but relatability to that situation. Like, damn, that really messed that dude up. You know what I mean? Like, man, I shouldn't ride them like all the time, or like lead with a positive and then follow with a negative. You know what I mean? And just try to like tweak and work on their confidence. And I like to challenge their minds, thoughts, and theories. So like when we sit at the table, what'd you learn at school? Well, what do you think of that? And like, why don't you expound upon that? What's your thought on that? Those kind of things. I like to do the thought-provoking things with the kids. Luckily, that's something my family was into as well. We would talk about theory and this and that. I didn't do great in school, but I learned a lot from those conversations. My daughter just asked me today. She was like, "Hey, what was the story about Adam and Eve?" Which is great, because I just got to start bringing her to church a couple of years ago. And that whole thing is like, the Christian rock thing is such a great thing too, because my kid sings it, and it's like, it's a conduit, dude. It's a conduit to God. And if you haven't found Christian rock music you like, there is some out there. I like it, and I grew up till I was 30 only listening to rap music. Like, there's stuff I sing and play in my car all the time. But I would say keep looking. But it's a conduit. That whole scene, like, I see these kids that are 18, 19, 20 years old. I know what they stand for by just how they're singing and praising. And I'm like, I don't want to be that. I know Corey doesn't want to be that, but like I want my kid to be that. You know what I mean? Like that, just like feathered, like just completely like just untethered to anything, just letting go and putting their hands up and just feeling it. Because for me, when I had to talk with her about what Adam and Eve was, I directed that back towards, in my mind, the things that made me almost an atheist for a long time, and kind of was able to reroute her brain about the pitfalls in the human thinking of the negatives of that. Why God created man, why he made a woman, why we are necessary for each other, all those things. You know what I mean? And the beauty of that, why there's like a cyclical relationship there with God in the middle of it. And she really appreciated it. You know what I mean? And it's nothing better than to see your kids, like Shawn was mentioning, and Corey, and you guys, like, have a relationship with God, because I didn't have that. I used to sneak out of the church. I'd be like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and I would run in Rite Aid and steal toys. Like, that's the shit I would do during church. I'm not even joking. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I just wanted nothing to do with it. So to be able to be something on the other side of that, in a scary world where a lot could happen, but you can provide some good to the best of your ability and lead the faith of whatever happens in God's hands, essentially. It's been the honor of my life, man. So just to see you guys do it as well, trudge together on that road, is amazing experience.
Yeah.
Here's the deal.
Very good.
No, we didn't mention this, but Bill, something you said just reminded me of it. Get your kids around music. The Christian rock thing is what spurred it. Get your kids around music. Bring your kids to concerts.
Yep.
Like Dave Matthews.
Play instruments like
year.
My kid plays keyboard. Both of them. You know what I mean? Like, they hop on a piano. Da da da. I wish I knew that stuff growing up.
Yeah.
Learn the guitar.
Whatever you got to do to get their face out of a tablet.
Strap music. I'm sorry. What did you say, Greg?
I said whatever you got to do to get their face out of a tablet.
Right. And as our producer just said, get them into trap music too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and selling drugs and all that stuff. Yep.
I think, like we said, some of the biggest things, there's an old, like, I studied it in school, but some like Native American cultures, and they basically like show me a child that smiles, right, and is having fun, and I'll show you like a good household and good upbringing. And there's a lot of truth to that, you know. There's
Another
more
thing
to it than
too,
that, but there's a lot of truth to that.
I'm sure you guys do is like put them through adversity. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I try to put
Toughen
them
them
through
up a little bit,
adversity
yeah, just a little.
because when you leave that door,
Sure.
it's nobody's rooting for you. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
you gotta think outside the box. So
I suplex Noah every day.
yeah.
Every day I take him down.
He's gonna
Yeah.
whoop your ass one day.
Dude, it's
He's
gonna
just
be
gonna-
bad
Not one
gonna be
day. It's
bad.
going to be like
That's coming
soon.
soon.
next year.
I do think, Tone, we're closing up here, but I think again, it's be aware of the teaching moments and actually teach, right? Use those, anything in your day-to-day life, like use those as teaching moments and teach the child a lesson. And I don't mean like be hard on them necessarily unless the situation calls for it. Sometimes a little tough love and being a little, is not a bad thing. Obviously there's a balance that needs to be struck there, but use the teaching moments wisely. Don't pass them up, you know? So
Mhm.
tell them you
Persevere when
love
you're
them.
tired too.
Tell them you love them and tell them you're proud of them. I tell both of them every night, I love you and I'm proud of you. Good job today. No
Yep.
matter what happened. So
I
and
do that
God
too.
loves
Because how many people do you know? My dad never told me he was proud of me.
For sure.
You
for
know what I
sure.
mean? So I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm proud
Or
of
like
you. Proud of you.
my mom, talks about like getting hit as a kid, and my grandma,
Yeah.
as she's hitting her, would be like, "I do this because I love you." It's like what a
Yeah.
warped sense of
Oh, yeah.
of love. But anyways, shout out to our listeners. Please like, follow, and share on all socials at Trudge Report Pod. Email us trudgereportpod@yahoo.com. Send mailbag requests for topics, questions, comments to any of these handles. Remember, we are all here if anyone wants to talk about recovery and our experiences, or if you are struggling with some form of addiction. Love you guys. I really enjoyed doing this with all three of you, and as a group, man. This has been extremely fulfilling for me, and I hope fulfilling for our listeners. Thank you again to Janine and Stella Mix Podcast Management. Good night. God bless, and may you trudge the road of happy destiny. We will see you next week.